Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a couple months, but everything has pretty much been status quo. I haven't done much to the grids, but I wanted to do a video to share with you a factor that I plugged into the column that I was using in the past for race rating and performance rating, and then I ended up tossing those ideas. And what I've come up with is what I'm calling a fitness rating. And it's in the experimental stage right now. I want to see how much of an impact it makes, mainly on the overall category, because that's where I have it tied in, the overall average, and also as a standalone. See if it places horses in the money, how many on top winners, so on and so forth. The regular grids have been doing very well. If you're in the Discord, you'll attest to that. I've been putting a lot of decent scores in there, from pick fours to superfectas to even long shot winners in there, using the basic grids that I left off with in the last video that I put together. Now, what I'm doing is I added this again. I added the fitness rating in, and the fitness rating, the only thing that it tweaks is the overall average. I have it tied into the formula that affects the overall average. And then once again, as I said, I could look at it as a standalone as well. What I want to do is I want to show you exactly how I come up with that fitness rating. It's very simple. Let me just get to a set of PPs here. We're looking at Mountaineer tonight. And all I'm doing for the fitness rating is I'm looking at the last race. If it was run at today's distance or close to it, if it's the same type of race type. So even if it was a 5.5 furlong, and I'm looking at 6 furlongs today, especially if I use that race as my pace race to get all my other data from, I'm going to use that to figure out my fitness rating as well. So all I'm doing with the fitness rating is I'm looking at the last two calls. I'm looking at the top of the lane to the finish. And all I want to do is I want to add the lengths behind together as step number one. So that would be 1 plus 1 is 2. That would be a 98. And then if there was any moves, if it gained or lost, I would either add or subtract. But in this case, the horse just stayed where it was. 1 length out at the top of the lane, 1 length out at the finish. So that would be a 98 for a fitness rating. Now let's look at one that had a gain or loss. And we'll go to the 2 horse here. So this one didn't have now, so we're just going to go to the next one. I think I tossed that horse in my capping. All right, we'll just use this one. What I did was I rounded that 3 3/4 up to a 4, because I want to stay away from decimals as much as I can, unless it's a half. I will do a 92.5 or so forth, but this would be a 4 and a 3 is a 7, but it also gained a length from the top to the finish. So I would take one off of there. It would be a 6. It would be a 94. So instead of a 93, a 7 from 100 being a 93, I added 1 point for the gain in length. So that 4 horse there would have a fitness rating of a 94 in that case. All right, now, if you look at these two as independent factors, there's a lot of things come in question. You might say, well, okay, well, that horse has a better fitness rating, but that horse, what about the pace of the race? What about other factors? Well, all those other factors are already in the grid here. The pace of the race, the race shape, his pace performance individually compared to everybody else's, and so on. So I'm not saying that this is the best standalone factor, because you got class moves to look at. So, but I am taking a look at how it does as far as tweaking this overall average category here, and if it makes a difference one way or another. All right, so let me just check something out real fast. And one more thing I wanted to share with you. Okay, I want to shift gears for a second here. And look at Mountaineer race number 1. This has nothing to do with the fitness rating. I did not tie this into the early races tonight. I'm tying it into the later races tonight. But if you look at this grid here, this is the old grid. I had the 1 and the 8, and I'm using color codes over here as the purple is the class drop. You guys can do whatever you want with that. I think I shared before that I've been shading green for horses that were on the lead in the pace line that I used my data from. Okay, and then I carried that over here. But when you look at this grid, I came up with 1-8 on top, and I came up with 2 of the 4 underneath, with the 4 being a long shot. And I want to show you a ticket that I played, mainly the pick 4 ticket. I used all 1, 2, 4, 8. The 4 horse actually won the race and paid $55.80. I did have a small win bet, a $3 win bet on that, and I got $83.70 just for that $3 win bet, which is probably more than I'm going to spend tonight on the entire card. So that first race, I just made up for everything right there. I have a $30 pick 4, and the reason I had the $30 is because I ended up using all 4, and thankfully I did that in the first leg, and not went with my top 2, which would have been the 1 and the 8. I missed out on my super and my try simply because I didn't put the 4 on top. But if you notice, the 4, 2, 8, 1 were my top 4 plays, and I just didn't have the 4. Again, that was my mistake. I had the 1 on top of the super here, and I had the 1 on top of the super here. I probably should have just sacrificed one of the 2 and maybe put a 2-4 there over 1, 4, 8, and I would have had no, I wouldn't have had to try either if I had the 2, 8. Anyways, so I'm just showing you the potency here of just the traditional grid and how it holds up. But again, back to the main gist of tonight's video is I want to see how that fitness rating holds up, and more importantly, I wanted to show you how I was coming up with it. Now, I just want to do one more where we're looking at lengths gained from one call to the other. Let me just pull a horse out of here. And, okay, if I were using this horse here, for the fitness rating, I would add the 2 together. 13 plus 3 is 16. That's an 84 right there. But then this was also a 10 length loss. So I would have to subtract 10 from that 84. That would be a 74 fitness rating on there. Okay, so if anybody's interested in these grids and you want me to add them to the download page, if you are a holder of the pace progression model, if not, you have a link in the description if you're interested in purchasing either the book off of Amazon or the tutorial. You can. Then you'll have access to all the grids types that you're finding on the grid download page here. Okay, so that's all I really wanted to cover today. It was good getting back to you. Like I said, my time off has pretty much been because everything's been status quo. Nothing has changed. But I'm still here, alive and well. I'll talk to you soon.